everybody. Welcome back. Today's episode is something a little different. Well, not really that different in that it's a game that we've played before and it's with players that you've heard before. This is going well. Today we're doing a kind of one-shot sort of experimental thing, playing Star Trek Adventures. Some of you may remember we played before with our friends from the Spotlight podcast. It was, 2.5-3 years ago at this point. But yeah, what with everything being a little bit up in the air at the moment, plans-wise and life-wise and everything, yeah, we're going to be doing a series of sort of short one-shots, maybe, see how things go week to week, really. But yeah, we ran a Twitter poll where we asked you all to vote on what you wanted to hear first, and Star Trek Adventures topped the poll, or at least I think it did. I accidentally set the poll to last for 7 days, and it's still rolling. So it was in the lead last time I checked, I guess. Either way, here we are. I'm joined for this one by Eden.
Hello.
And Amy.
Hello.
Like I say, we're going to be playing Star Trek Adventures. I feel like we can introduce your characters sort of as part of the thing.
Cool.
So, cue hastily written music. It is Stardate 44270.69. Or, as we now might know it, the 9th of April, 2376. It's about a year or so since the events of Deep Space Nine came to a conclusion, and we are joining 2 Starfleet officers making their way back to their ship, the USS Tenzing Norgay, from a security conference on Starbase 47. Would you like to introduce yourselves and give a bit of a description of your character? Whoever wants to go first.
Hello, I'm Amy. I'm playing Leera Murphy. She is a half Bajoran, half human security officer who has a bit of a temper, being half Bajoran, and the events of DS9 have greatly affected her life. She's about 5'6", mid-length, red hair. She does have the typical Bajoran nose trim, but it's slightly muted more because of her human genetic code. She does not wear the ear ring, though, because it's not part of the Starfleet uniform. So she's not allowed to wear it. She will wear it on her off duty, however. She's
a lieutenant, did we say that?
Yes, she is a lieutenant. She was overpassed for promotion due to her temper, again. While visiting DS9, she came across a few Cardassians, and Cardassians and Bajorans don't really get on. So she was surpassed for promotion because of her behaviour, and is now kind of being punished, so to speak, by being forced to go to this conference.
That's yeah. I can't think of anything as boring to be sent to as a security conference. Really.
Especially if it's your own job.
Yeah.
And you've been doing it for quite a while.
How long would you say she's been in Starfleet then? She's a lieutenant, so maybe...
She's a lieutenant 6 years,
6 years out of the academy? Okay.
Yeah, that would be right.
Yeah,
6 years.
I mean, that sort of tracks if like if her tempers held her back a bit, she would have been lieutenant commander by now. But she got in trouble.
Yeah, and it's her own fault as well, and she admitted it as well. It's my own fault. My temper got the better of me. I know. I shouldn't. They look at you. Just look at my nose and go, Bajoran. I know. I'm Starfleet as well. I know.
Fair enough. Okay. And sat in the shuttle with you is
Ensign Jonny Conought, who is a pretty fresh-faced guy straight out of the academy. Let's say less than a year, maybe 9-10 months, perhaps. He's been on assignment.
Do you think this starship is his first assignment? Would you say?
Absolutely, yeah. This is his first taste of being out in space proper, and he's quite a dogmatic little guy. He's fairly short. He's about 5 foot, quite squat, built. He's quite a stocky little dude. He grew up in the Bajoran home sector on one of the other planets, not Bajor Prime, away from Deep Space Nine, kind of further off into the galaxy a little bit. His family were kind of traders, and they worked with the Bajorans to kind of like, they were part of the, not quite working with the Federation, but you know how there's going to be a certain amount of humanity that's coming alongside it and working on the trade side of stuff. That's kind of how they were there. And he'd grown up being quite kind of enamored with Starfleet and the whole notion of the greater good and joining them to, I don't know, better everything. Yeah. And in that respect, he's quite stuck on the fact that Starfleet is right. Beyond that, yeah, he's quite physically capable, and he's not like, he's quite a sharp guy as well, but at the same time his dogmatism means that he's blind to certain kinds of, like, he doesn't take criticism of Starfleet well, and in particular just doesn't see any kind of error in any of their ways.
So based on being pretty fresh out of the academy then, he pretty much graduated just after the Dominion War kind of wrapped up then.
That's it, and he's got a kind of fondness for that period of time. He looks back on it and like he was almost part of it, and there's something to that for him.
Leera is not going to enjoy that he enjoys that kind of part of history. It's like, this is very recent history.
Yeah,
he wants to do his part.
It was like a year ago. It's like a dude in 1946 being like, damn, I wish I'd been there.
There must have been some of them out there. And as I say, this guy, he's in very recent times, while he was in the academy, that was taking place, and that feeling of like, want to get out there, that's in him.
Boy, you know nothing.
So as I say, you're both travelling back. You're aboard the shuttlecraft Mallory. You're heading back from Starbase 47, which is fairly close to the Bajor sort of home sector. It's not too far from Bajor, but not that close either. It's sort of galactically sort of south of Beta Z. Your ship, the USS Tenzing Norgay, is a Nebula class, which has been in service for a few years. It saw a little bit of action during the Dominion War, but it is mostly a science and exploration ship, so it really didn't see a lot of frontline service. It wasn't really kitted out for it, despite the sort of mad scramble for, let's get more guns on the front line sort of thing.
It's more of a supply ship
then? Yeah. Its sort of extensive sensor suite did sort of play a little bit of sort of early warning kind of role for some engagements, but it really didn't get too up and in the mix compared to some of the sort of more kitted out. Starfleet doesn't make warships, but there's definitely some that are a little bit more suited to combat, shall we say. So yeah, it is currently on a scientific and survey mission in the sort of reaches of the Federation space. Again, sort of heading galactic south, if that makes sense. Kind of heading... You could pretty much draw a straight line between Earth to Beta Z and then carry it on, and the ship is sort of in that direction. Sort of heading out from Earth, galactic southwest, shall we say. It's not going to be a long journey back from Starbase 47, but you've You've been underway for a few hours now. You're at Warp 5. The Mallory is a Danube-class runabout. It's one of the larger shuttlecraft assigned to the Tenzing Norgay. The captain has shown a little bit of trust in the two of you to give you one of the larger shuttlecraft for this mission, and you are being piloted by a Bolian ensign called Ban Sos, who is known as a competent member of the ship's con crew. As I say, you're a couple of hours out from Starbase 47, and you're expecting about another 12 hours of travel to get back to the ship. How would you say each of you is sort of holding up to the travel? What are your thoughts on the recent conference? What are your thoughts about the travel? That kind of thing.
Okay, Johnny's kind of... He was perfectly fine with going to the security conference because orders are orders, and he's a yes sir kind of guy. So he's been just going to workshops. He's got it all in mind. He's thinking about all the things he's learned while he was there, and he's just kind of mulling it over, and I don't know. That's where he's at. He's just really kind of going back over
there was
what's been happening.
What you would consider quite illuminating lecture that you went to by Commander O of Starfleet Security.
Oh.
Yes, O indeed. Not one of the complete higher-ups in Starfleet Security, but she's a Vulcan, and she was giving a lecture on vigilance. So yeah, you are mulling over this what you thought was a quite thought-provoking lecture on vigilance from Commander O. Is your mind wandering while you're traveling? What's your? Or are you just kind of mentally going through some notes or something?
Well, Johnny's practiced in meditation, so he's just kind of meditating over this to some extent. Not quite sat in the lotus position or anything like that, but he's just capable of spending time in thought like that and not necessarily getting bored of it.
Okay, so he's just kind of chilling out in a chair.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Lieutenant Leera?
She probably didn't go to all the workshops. She probably skimmed through a few of them to see what ones were worth going.
There were a couple of mandatory ones, I will say. There was one about the sort of the specific reason that the captain had sent you was an update on the state of the Federation of Starfleet's rebuilding following the Dominion War. It's been a little while, but yeah.
She would have went to the mandatory ones, but the ones that she didn't have to go to, she wouldn't have went to.
No, you didn't go for like an update course on I don't know, Klingon Kung Fu or something.
Decoding algorithms.
Yeah.
No.
Not really
she's got. No, she's probably more going to like the fringer things that are like the more upcoming details. So like the Maquis had loads of like coding, and they were all over the neutral zones and everything. So I can imagine there's lots of like key information that they had gathered that they're probably mulling over and stuff.
A lot of the Maquis were wiped out by the Cardassians.
Unfortunately.
But yes, let's say there was a seminar about Maquis hacking techniques that drew your eye, shall we say? Yeah.
Tell me more about my people. I was raised on Earth.
You did both end up going to the social mixer though on the first evening, and just to check in with some of your fellow officers and have a couple of drinks and stuff.
I'd imagine she'd probably have met up with some of her like contacts as well, like because every security officer's got like some sort of like nefarious or other security officer like buddies that they can like get information from.
Yeah. I mean, it being a conference, there's one or two, you know, officers that you were maybe at Starfleet Academy with that you've kept in contact with, and you I just kind of keep your ear out, sort of thing.
Yeah, she'd be the one that would always be like drinking quite heavily with like some rougher looking people. It's like, these are good guys. They're rough, but they get the job done. A little bit stupid, but we can't all be brilliant. It's just the way things are.
So how are you handling the trip back then? Are you hungover? How are you?
She's probably got a slight hangover, but not like debilitating. She's a little niggle headache, probably. She's currently reading an updated letter from her grandparents from Earth.
Ooh, okay. Was she raised by her grandparents, or was she...
After her father and mother died on one of the neutral planets between Cardassia and Bajor space, she was sent back to Earth to her father's family to be raised.
Okay.
She's about 10.
Just digging into those backstories, that's what I'm here for. Forget the space stuff, I just want to know the tragic backstories. Yeah. Okay, well, you're both doing your best then to kind of ignore the Ensign Bansos, who is piloting, who's quite chatty. He's not, he's a nice guy, but he's sort of known for being a little bit sort of.
He likes the sound of his own voice.
Yeah. That's a diplomatic way of putting it. Yeah, he likes the sound of his own voice. But he's currently regaling you with a story which I would guess you, Lieutenant Leera, have heard before, probably having been on the ship for a little while.
And I will disgustingly sigh and roll my eyes as he goes on.
Yeah, he's talking about what a great, great job that him and his co-pilots were doing. The co-pilots isn't the right word, but he's regaling you in particular, really, Ensign Conought, with just the story of the most dangerous battle that the Tenzing Norgay was in during the Dominion War, and he's talking about formations of Jem'Hadar ships coming right at you, and it's all quite exciting. But as I say, Lieutenant Leera, you were there, and you've heard this. He's embellishing a little bit, shall we say? Not a lot, but a little bit enough to make it sort of sound a bit more like an action movie than it maybe was.
I have this image of her like mouthing along with him, and like just like giving like one hand is like gesturing the exact way that he's gesturing. And then quietly going back to her letter. Yeah,
you're not looking at him while you're doing it. You're just kind of... Yeah.
Johnny's kind of giving him side eyes listening to this, and kind of noting every time that there's an embellishment, because he's like read up on all of this stuff. He's aware of the history of these things, and he's kind of looking over towards Leera as well and catching the blah 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 hand motion and smirking to himself ever so slightly.
I'd say, like I say, it doesn't seem to be like a malicious thing. It's just like he's just kind of bragging a little bit, but also kind of like you're getting the feeling he's sort of looking at it, it's like, oh, this is the new kid, we ought to tell him about the cool things that went on and stuff. And of course, like, he's a central character in the story of like, so then I threw it into full impulse, and we did a loop around that moon, and you should have been there, kid. It was a hell of a thing.
If he had been there, the bulkhead would have crushed his skull in. Just look over and just be like, just the truth, if you'd been there.
Lieutenant, I feel like you and I have very different memories when it comes to this engagement.
I just have a different perspective, I think.
Just one of these days, somebody's going to recognize me for my piloting skills, but I know it's not going to be you.
Kind of laughing. Yeah, I've got faith.
Faith of the heart, am I right?
Nothing but. And then Johnny puts his feet up on the table and kind of lays back in the chair a little bit and smiles and looks over at Leera and kind of like gives that knowing smile of like, yeah, I'm not really 100% with this guy, but it's funny to wind him up, right?
She's just gonna give him a nod. Oh, greenies.
He sort of looks down and says, he's like, I'm not green, Lieutenant, I'm blue. True blue. And he sort of he turns back to look out the front window. Just at this moment that you begin to hear a beeping sound from the console. And Ensign Sauce, he frowns and goes, "Whoa, that's not right," and presses a few keys on the control pad. picking up a subspace disturbance right in our path. Don't know if I can get around it. What do you want me to do?
Jonny drops his feet down off the table and kind of gets up onto him and walks forward towards the console to see what's going on.
Are you looking at the sensor displays? What are you
Yeah,
doing?
he's kind of coming in. He puts his hand on Sauce's shoulder and kind of comes up behind him and says, "What's going on?" And looks down at what he's looking at.
Okay. He says, well, there's some kind of subspace eddy or disturbance out there. We're coming up on it quick. We need to make a decision here.
Murphy's going to get up and look out the window, see if she can see anything. Slow us down, back us up if possible.
Okay.
We don't want to accidentally walk into it.
You can't see anything visually, I'll say that, because you are at warp. But you get a look at the sensor readings and that as Sauce begins to bring the Mallory down from warp 5. Just as you're about to cross down into warp 2, the whole shuttlecraft begins to shudder violently. And you know what? Can I get this? I guess would be, fitness security check from both of you, just to see if you can stay on your feet as the shaking suddenly a massive kind of bang. But this is only going to be it's a big difficulty 1, so I need 2d20 from each of you. So
I've not added anything. Oh, God's sake.
Needed less than 15.
Less than 15. Okay, so yeah, you got 1 success, which is all I needed from you, Ensign Conought. 2 successes from you, Lieutenant Leera. I keep forgetting the freaking Bajoran's surname first, isn't it? Okay, so you actually gain a momentum from that because you got 2 successes on a difficulty 1. So yeah, you both, the shuttlecraft just violently kind of kicks, and you have to steady yourself against the sort of control panels and that as you violently drop out of warp, but you manage to keep your feet.
Does one of the displays spark?
It definitely does. Yeah. And more than it should, really, given that fuses were invented several hundred years previously. But
it's a good thing nobody was stood at that console.
Yeah, really lucky.
Yeah. To have fallen back dramatically.
Yeah. Or possibly killed.
Yeah. In fact, it's one of the consoles a little bit further on. It's the one that you were sat in front of, actually. So you were lucky that you stood up, because that console explodes with a force that it really shouldn't have for what is essentially a touchscreen. It's weird, you know. But there is a little bit of a haze of smoke in the cockpit of the runabouts. And you sort of you can't really feel the acceleration. The inertial dampeners are still running, but you can see out of the windscreen. It's not called a windscreen. You can see out of the viewport the stars around you. You are no longer at warp, and you are spinning violently out of control through space.
I would like to use my momentum and try and stabilize the ship.
Okay.
To stop.
So momentum is something you can spend to. You can use it if you're making a check to add an additional d20. Yeah, I mean, that's that momentum itself isn't. It's more like a resource used to kind of upgrade tasks, if you like. So you could make if there was something you wanted to do, you could make a check and then spend that momentum to give yourself an extra 3rd die to try and make it.
So I might keep it for later then.
Yeah, I will say because it doesn't always last. It will go. Well, you lose 1 momentum at the end of each scene. So yeah, it's up to you when you want to use it. But so you're saying are you trying to sort of take control of the shuttle?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and
The budge Ensign Sauce aside.
Mass data typewriter style. Try and slow down the ship.
If I remember rightly, this type of runabout has 2 front seats. So yes, you're able to sit yourself into the 2nd seat and try and take control. So I'm going to need for this this is going to be difficulty 2.
Okay.
So I need 2 successes from you. This is going to be a control con check.
Okay, so that's a +3.
Yeah, so you need less than 13.
Oof.
Ooh, so that is actually because you need to get below 13. It was being difficulty 2. You didn't actually do it, I'm afraid. It wasn't high enough to get a complication. If you roll a 20 on the d20, you get a complication. Then I get to make things harder for you. But you just failed to get it under control. Ensign Conought, what would you like to do, if anything?
Yeah, my guy's not really kind of one for. I mean, there's 2 people in the control seats here. There's not much I'm not going to try and pull Sauce out of the seat or anything. So yeah, he's just kind of waiting for the next thing to happen.
Yeah.
Could put out the fire.
Yeah, in fact, yeah. Looking back at the where he was sat, he sees that the screen has exploded, and what's actually going on back there is like.
It's just kind of sparking. It's kind of sparking a bit. It's nothing's like it hasn't like it's not like on set your chair on fire or anything, but it is kind of sparking a little bit, and there is some smoke in the cabin now.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to try and deal with that in whatever way we would, because I'm trying to rack my brain now for a moment where it's like, okay, so the screens have exploded in an episode of Star Trek. What happens next when they fix it? Have we ever seen that?
Environmental controls get smoke out.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, everything's automated. No, there is a sort of emergency fire suppression kit that you can use to try and just sort of calm things down a little bit.
Okay, so yeah, totally grabbing that fire suppression kit and taking aim at the damage and try to put it out.
I'm not going to spend a minute skimming through the rulebook to try and look for a fire extinguisher in there. I'm just going to say, can you give me a daring engineering, I guess?
Okay, so that's 11.
It's 12. It's only going to be difficulty 1, I think, on this. Cause, yeah.
So it's 2d20 again?
2d20, and you're looking for less than 12.
I got one.
One success. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You grab the emergency fire suppression kit and you just start sort of liberally spraying it around the console and that, and the sparking does stop. But there is obviously still a little bit of smoke in the air, but you've calmed this exploding panel.
What's the state of the chair that Jonny was sitting in?
It's covered in fragments of the LCAR's display. So obviously that's exploded out was a bit of broken glass. There is one bit kind of sticking out of the chair back.
So he takes note of that and just kind of to the others in not necessarily expecting a response like, "Damn, I came close there, guys," and then kind of turns back and kind of goes over to see if is there any action at this point. What's happening there?
Yeah, so Ban is also trying very hard to get the ship under control. I'm going to have him make a con check as well. So he actually has a 15 in control. Well, it's 4 in con and 11 in control. All you listeners at home, I want to know numbers. So I'm going to make this. What was it? Difficulty 2, wasn't it? I had it with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I need to get below 15. Fuck me.
We're spinning.
Yeah.
We're spinning.
So he is also trying to get the ship under control. For listeners, I rolled an 18 and a 20, which is a complication and a failure. So the ship is spinning, and he says, "This isn't. Not gonna lie, you might want to hang on to something." There's a further bang from somewhere in the rear area of the ship. The ship does seem to slow its spin a little bit, but as you look out of the viewport, you can see what looks to be some debris trailing from the port side of the ship.
Did we hit someone or someone hit us?
He checks. He goes, "Oh, damn! Looks like getting out of that spin. One of the warp nacelles is detached. We're not going anywhere fast."
Great.
How fast is fast?
Well,
I guess half speed with one nacelle?
you can. Well, you can't go to warp with one nacelle. You can run a scan and see what's in the local area, but otherwise you are probably at impulse speed several years away from the ship.
Unless we send a message, but we'll have to see what the damage is first. Let's run a diagnostic. Check for damage. What are we actually missing?
If you want to run a diagnostic, I think this would be a reason engineering check. I want a difficulty 1 just to run a sort of surface diagnostic.
Okay.
Oof.
20.
Okay, so you got a success, but also a complication. That, it's not great.
Incomplete diagnostic.
So here's what I'm going to say then. So you successfully run the diagnostic, but discover that first bump took out your communications array, and that that was what backfired and blew out that console.
The first time we had that bump, communications are gone.
At least the main array is, but the you can't make calls.
We can't contact anyone.
This is not good. Is there any means within the craft to, like, their spacesuits? Is there a means of getting out to do something to try and repair this?
This is one of the bigger ones as well.
Yeah, this is one of the bigger systems.
Equipment.
You're gonna need you're gonna need to dock somewhere to repair it, or land somewhere.
Okay. Turning to the others, Johnny's like, so which way's the nearest planet or starbase? Do you guys know?
Let's scan.
Yeah. Who wants to do a scan?
Ensign, you scan. Scan for any habitable planets.
Do some scanning.
A moon. Anything. An asteroid.
Okay.
For anything.
I'm going to need a reason science check for this.
Sir.
Again, I'm going to go difficulty 1 on this as well, just to... because you're doing a scan of what's around you, really. 4 and a 17. Okay, we'll call that... that's one success. You were trying to get below 12.
Cool.
And you weren't quite high enough to get another complication there, so that's fine. I realise it sounds like I'm being super vindictive here, but, like... That's a pretty high roll. Yes, you scan the surrounding sort of area of space, and you find that by happenstance, the runabout was passing through a star system at the time of the anomaly. The computer reports this is an uninhabited system. But luckily, does appear to be a planet which at least seems to partly have an atmosphere, which would be breathable.
Okay. Lieutenant, there's one planet within the system that appears to be habitable, or at least somewhere that we could perhaps land and at least get a cursory look at the damage to the runabout here.
Ban?
I think I can get us there, but... without having a good look at that nacelle, this might be a bit of a bumpy landing.
Well, even if we crash, we can make some sort of communication. It's better than nothing. The sooner we get landed, the sooner we can fix it, the sooner we get back.
All right, okay. I'll have Lieutenant Sauce make a check to get you over there, just as a piloting check, just because the ship is damaged. So then control con again, so under 15s. 19 and a 6.
Ooh,
okay.
So close.
So close.
Yeah, he manages to bring the runabout through the star system towards this planet. It's quite small, smaller than Earth. Approaching though, you can see through the viewports that it does appear that there is some amount of vegetation, at least visible from space. There's some greenery. There's a couple of oceans. A fair amount of cloud cover though, over a lot of the surface. Ensign Sauce said, "Okay, well, better hold on to something. I don't know how bumpy this is going to be." And he begins to bring the shuttle into the atmosphere.
Is there another chair on the shuttle that isn't full of shards of a screen?
Yeah. You roll one through from the back.
Yeah, we're all going to strap in.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I want to get strapped in and ready, braced.
It says, "Okay, I'm going to aim. Try and aim for that flat area of land there. Hold on to something."
Can I help him at all? While being on the ship?
Sure. Yeah, no, you can. If you want, you can donate that momentum to...
Yeah, I'd rather we land safely.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see how this goes then. So I'm again going to roll 3d20 on that. That is 3 successes. So as I use that momentum, I will put an extra one in. So you currently have 2 momentum in your pool. He's not lying. It's a pretty bumpy landing, but the ship seems to hold together, at least better than you thought it was going to go, based on the luck you guys seem to be having. And the shuttlecraft comes down. You look out of the side windows and you see he's sort of threading it down a kind of quite wide valley between 2 sort of spurs of a mountain range, and aiming for what sort of quite large mass of greenery. It's be fairly flat ahead of you, at least from the speed you're going. As he begins to bring it lower, though, it becomes clear that these are the tops of trees, and there is a lot of bumping as the runabout Mallory plows its way through the canopy of this forest. Branches snapping off. You're going quite a clip still as you begin this, so nothing's really stopping you. But he's obviously, it was expecting it to be a field almost. And it's quite bumpy as he slowly finally manages to bring the shuttlecraft, the runabout, to a stop, kind of leaving quite a landing trail behind you, shall we say, on the floor of this forest. He turns back to you and says, "Well, guess you're in this story then, kid."
Oh, not now, Ban. We okay?
Yeah, I'm all good. Let's wait to tell stories till later.
Let's wait till we're home.
Yeah.
Well, you're the lieutenant. What's the plan?
Systems check, see what's damaged. Make sure our perimeter is fine. Water, shelter. Well, runabout's shelter, so.
Yeah.
We don't have to. But yeah, definitely a perimeter check. We don't know what's here. Alright,
okay, so who wants to do what?
I don't feel like I should be making a choice in that respect. I mean, my guy's Ensign,
I mean, you could always volunteer for a job.
True. In fact, yeah, on that basis, because Jonny is quite... Yeah, he's I want to go get him, as it were. He's kind of... Lieutenant, I volunteer to check the perimeter.
Alright, just mind your wits. Don't get in over your head, and if you see something, shout. Don't be a hero. We don't need that right now. Ban, check in here what the damage is. I'll check outside.
You got it, Lieutenant, sir.
Aye, sir.
Just call me Murphy.
Jonny kind of winces a little bit at breaking protocol and goes, "Okay, Murphy," and sort of clutches his phaser at his side and pulls it out and steps towards the back of the ship to get out.
Murphy's just gonna shout, "Remember your tricorder!"
I, sir. And he kind of looks around, and it was on the table where he was sitting. So, how do you want to be friendly? Is it still in one piece after if it was on the table?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I'm not gonna be a complete dick.
So he kind of spots it on the floor where it's been knocked off by the lad.
Yeah. Let's say that with the combination of the exploding console and the bumpy landing and everything, your tricorder is in one piece, but it's kind of just sort of fetched up on the ground up against the opposite wall.
Okay, so yeah, he spots it on the floor, scrabbles it up, brushes it off a little bit, and kind of hurriedly makes his way out the bag, slightly embarrassed.
Murphy's shaking her head.
So you open the side exit door of the runabout, and you find yourself on a quite sort of lush-looking forest floor. As the door opens, the air from outside kind of hits you. It's quite warm and quite humid. It's a bit of an odd tang to it, but it's definitely breathable, confirming that at least the sensors were working properly. So yeah, it's quite a sort of lush sort of forest kind of floor. As you step out, you look back and see that there is a quite sort of sizable kind of trail of destruction that the runabout's left behind it. as it sort of blasted through the canopy and kind of through several smaller trees on its way to the ground. So not the smoothest of landings, shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
There's sounds of unfamiliar but obviously wildlife, kind of like sounds of what could be bird calls, but you don't know if they're birds here or whether we know what they are. Yeah, just general kind of jungle sounds. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, stepping out into that, taking a breath of that slightly tangy air, wincing ever so slightly, looking down at the tricorder in a slightly paranoid way, like, is the air actually okay? He starts looking around afterwards after being reassured by what he's seeing on the radar, and starts making his way, maybe takes a few footsteps away from the shuttle, and then starts making his way around the perimeter of it. So, and looking back and forth between the shuttle and towards the jungle, keeping an eye out for threats, but at the same time getting a sense of just how potentially buggered the ship is.
Okay. If you're keeping an eye out for threats, then let's kind of let's make a check for that, just to sort of gauge your sort of general awareness of the situation. I think this would be an insight security, because your kind of insight is like your sort of awareness kind of what's going on, and then security because you're looking for threats. That's that's my thinking on that. Again, we'll call this difficulty 1 because
Okie doke. Well, I got a success there.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't appear that there's really anything like threat-wise immediately visible, if that makes sense. You would guess that maybe the runabout made quite a noise as it came down, so anything wildlife-wise was probably scared off a little bit from your immediate vicinity.
Makes sense.
As I say, you can hear the sounds of like animal calls and things in the distance and bird noises and stuff, but yeah, there's nothing immediately visible kind of in your vicinity, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Lieutenant Murphy, so you watch as Ensign Conought sort of wanders off.
I'll just follow after him after he goes and just go the opposite direction to see the nacelle.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to run a tricorder scan over the damage and see exactly what's broken.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll say even without running the tricorder scan, you can see that one of the warp nacelles is cracked, and it seems to be missing a good chunk of it. The orange bit, which is called a Bussard collector, is missing.
Damn it, the Bussard collector's missing.
Yeah, you don't. I'll give you that without even scanning. That's the obvious sort of look of it. The outside of the runabout, just in general, is pretty dinged up. A lot of it probably from the landing. But if you want to have a sort of more in-depth kind of look at the systems, I'm going to need a reason engineering check for difficulty 2.
Ooh.
Although I will bend the rules a little bit here. For any successes you get, I'll give you more information the more successes you get.
Okay. I'll try that then. Just going to try that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
6 and a 19. Okay, well that's one success. I'll say then, so with one success, you can definitely see that this warp nacelle is inoperable. There's a stress fracture along the hull, joining it to the sort of tracing back from where the bit is missing, going all the way to the sort of the bit that joins it to the main hull of the runabout.
In theory, that stress factor could that not expand and basically tear the ship apart?
It could, yeah.
Just gonna quietly swear.
Yeah. So that's not a great thing to find. That's what you find on that bit. Are you also looking for the comms array? What are you doing?
She's gonna survey like all the ship to like just do a slight walk around it.
Okay, can I get
as much
another
information.
reason engineering check then?
Yep.
A 20 and an 11. Okay. For a one shot, there's a lot of critical failures happening. So okay, that didn't go so well. Yeah, I'm just trying to think how to. Okay, I might hang on to that complication.
My tricorder breaks.
We'll go with that then. So yeah, you make your way around to the communications array, which is kind of a little bit tricky to get to. You have to kind of climb up onto up the front of the runabout to get to the communications array, which is kind of above the cockpit area. And you're just beginning your scan, and the lights go off on your tricorder.
I'm going to shake it and like tap it, and then check the power pack and be like, Conought!
Johnny's kind of rounding the ship and sees her tapping the tricorder as she said this. Yes, yeah.
Can you scan the communications array?
My
tricorder's broken.
Murphy. Yes, yeah, Murphy. And he gives it a bash.
Okay. I like that this is a way of getting around the complication. You're like, okay, no, you do the check for me. So can I get a reason engineering check from you? 9 and 14. Okay, yeah, that's one success. It appears a little busted. It's all in one piece, but like there's some electrical problems in it that is stopping the main subspace sort of transmitter from working. I can't give you any more than that with one success, I don't think.
Okay. It looks like the power's blown.
So not completely useless then.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a chance of maybe hooking it back up, and we can perhaps get a message out there. Seems like our only hope at this point.
Let's check what tools we have. How was the perimeter check?
Absolutely nothing. We're completely clear here. Looks like we're safe for now.
Alright, keep checking every 20 minutes. I just want to make sure that we're not... expect any company. Unwanted company, even.
Just as a little bit of extra flavour here. The sun is starting to dip towards the horizon. As I said, this is a bit of a smaller world than Earth, and you guess the days are slightly shorter. It seems to be spinning at... Not that it was like midday when you landed or anything, but you sort of landed towards evening, and it's the sun is dipping, shall we say.
Okay. Based on that information, then, Murphy is going to suggest that they bolt the door and stay inside during the night, because we don't want to be outside in an unknown planet. And then just make repairs during the evening inside the shuttlecraft. And then when daylight dawns, we'll do outside. I don't want to be caught outdoors at night on an unknown planet. It's just asking for too much trouble.
Okay. So are you heading inside then? Is that the general consensus?
Yeah, I'm just going to check on Ban.
Okay.
Johnny's going to follow in, obviously, and he's just bracing himself. He's looking around still. He's very cautious in terms of, like, we might be going inside, but he's going to go straight inside and look out the window and keep an eye on things.
Okay. So both of you go in, I assume closing the door behind you.
Yes.
Okay. That wasn't a trap, by the way. I'm not... It was more of a narrative thing more than anything else. I'm like, so did you set all your traps?
I think it's more the fact that we've seen, between us all, we've seen enough episodes to understand that leaving the door open in a shuttlecraft is not a good idea.
Yeah, it doesn't always end well.
There are so many examples, and I don't understand.
Everybody's so trusting. Luckily, you guys are both security officers. You learned how to close doors. That was day one at the academy. Close the door behind you.
Were you born in a barn?
Yeah, that was Were You Born in a Barn was the name of the first lecture. So yeah, you go back inside, and Ban is sort of looking pretty frustrated. He's kind of leant over the control panel. He says, I can get a little bit of power to the communications array, but we're not getting anything on the subspace repeater. It's like it's not connecting.
Right, power it down for now. It's getting dark. I don't want to try and go outside and fix this during the night. We don't know what's out there. It's probably safer if we do it in the morning. Daylight. Is there anything we can do inside? Do you need any help with anything?
Well, if the damage is on the array itself, then I can't really do that from in here. We need to get out there and have a look inside.
I'm going to relay him my observations of the nacelle outside and get his opinion. Is it as bad as I think?
Well, it's pretty bad. This isn't going to warp anytime soon. Not without a full rebuild of that nacelle and a huge overhaul and check of the superstructure. We're lucky we made it out of warp by the sounds of things.
We got hit by something really hard. That's the space anomaly?
Yeah, that's the likely culprit. I don't know what it was. I've got the sense data here, but it's inconclusive.
Let me have a look. See if my eyes see anything.
Okay. If you want to take a look at the sensor data.
I'm curious.
Yeah. This is going to be quite a tough check for you.
Okay.
This is actually a difficulty 3 check. Reason science.
Ooh. Well, we'll see. Having to go anyway.
Yeah, I think you've got 1 momentum left, but you only got 1 success there anyway, so there isn't really any way to do it. No, I mean it's that you can't see anything in the data that really is your field of expertise, should we say?
I'll keep it for now. Maybe someone back on the ship can have a look at it.
Hopefully they'll come find us.
Well, we were due to rendezvous in dock, so we've missed it. Give them a few hours. If we don't respond, then they'll send someone to look for us. Pick up our warp trail, probably.
He just looks at the displays as well. We're not even going to be overdue for another 7 hours, so nothing we can do till then anyway.
No, but rest up. Make sure this place is locked down, just in case. We'll fix whatever we need to in here, and then fresh in the morning we'll get on that array. Hopefully we can get a message through.
Ensign Conought, what do you have you got anything specific you would like to do now you're inside?
While this has been taking place, he's been up in one of the seats up front, looking out through that viewport, and just keeping an eye on the perimeter. As the sun's going down, he's kind of keeping an eye to see if there's more activity coming from the kind of still forested area around the crash site.
Yeah,
we
okay.
Could use our...
you could use
I was just going to say
sensors.
Sensor. I just remember.
It's like, oh yeah, we're in space.
Very true.
Who's the sensors?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you can use the sensors if you like, or I can just tell you what you see. It's up to you.
Yeah,
well, Jonny at least is very much like, he's a physical guy, and as much as he's capable as a Starfleet officer, like, his instincts get the better of him at times, and he is just on this mission to keep his eye on the forest, kind of as he was told.
Okay.
Much as the circumstances are slightly different, he was just told to check the perimeter every 20 minutes, and right now there's nothing to do but check the perimeter as far as he's concerned.
He's not a scientist. He's a...
Murphy, instead, having number of years under a belt, is probably going to run a scan.
Sure, okay.
But does Jonny see anything out there? Is there any change in the...
I mean,
the sun's setting, how far has this gotten at this point?
will say, okay, yeah, the sun is heading down. You reckon it'll be getting dark within the next sort of 30 minutes or so. Since you've all come inside, it does seem... You're not seeing anything specific, but it seems like there's a few more kind of signs of movement out there. Nothing that you can really kind of make out. Like, there isn't like a T-Rex wandering through the clearing or anything like that. It just seems like, okay, now you're inside. It's kind of... There's no signs of people moving over the giant soundproofed object. The forest is kind of returning a little bit to normal.
Noting that pretty much nothing is happening, he saying to... he doesn't turn, he's keeping his eyes fixed on the viewport. Nothing to report, sir.
Have you scanned the surrounding area?
No, and he kind of slightly drops a hand, or as slightly as he can, drops a hand down to the panel in front of him and starts tapping away to scan the area.
Okay.
It's alright, we've had a rough few hours. Don't worry about it. You're doing good.
Can I get a
Give him a little
reason
bit
science
confidence.
check? Yeah.
It's his first assignment.
Yeah. So, okay, that's one success. You're getting a lot of life form readings. A lot of life form readings, but nothing that you can't narrow it down to, it's not like a radar. You know what I mean?
And there's nothing presumably huge enough that would be, just one distinguishable.
Well, no, this is the thing. It's just, you're just kind of getting general readings that there is a lot of movement, a fair amount of movement out there, and a fair amount of kind of what could be definitely described as life form readings, but you're not getting like a sort of specific narrowing down of like there's something moving 10 meters away or there's something. It's just just picking up a lot of life and a lot of stuff.
Within the array, within the what the sensors have picked up, is there any indication of any kind of civilization, like the emissions of what proto-civilizations might typically kind of put out? Signs of farmland or anything like that on the sensors? Like,
not from what you can pick up, no.
Okay. So, doesn't seem like there's anything kind of specific to say about the environment, Murphy. There's just a lot of creatures out there. I mean, who knows what that stuff is, but this isn't one of the charted worlds, so it's probably just a lot of undiscovered animals, really. But no signs of intelligent life, that's for sure.
All right. We'll keep doing a periodic scan just to make sure there's nothing creeping up on us. Good work.
Thanks. He kind of tenses up a little bit, and his squat little body, like, you see him just sort of like shake for a second, and then he's back to it and kind of like pulls himself together, and he's like, "I'm in Starfleet, goddammit. This is what I always wanted." And then goes back to a steely-eyed look into the distance.
Okay. So it's not long before the sun goes down. Are you guys resting up? Is Conought is keeping a watch, or are you guys just trusting that probably nothing in this forest is going to be able to rip its way through the hull?
I'd imagine we'd probably still have a watch just to keep an eye.
Okay.
But is there any repairs that we can do inside the shuttle?
I mean, based on like what you'd kind of gotten from your scans earlier, the majority of that to try and get a signal out, you're going to need to go out there and do some slightly more in-depth work on the actual array on the roof, kind of thing. You can't really do a lot from in here. What you can do, Ensign Sauce has kind of done already, if that makes sense. And you definitely can't fix that nacelle from but not from in here, probably not from out there, not with what you got with you.
No, I probably just dish out some rations then.
I mean, you've got a replicator that works.
Yeah, we've got a replicator. Oh, well then.
What's for dinner?
A pot of coffee.
Yes.
I'm going to make a pot of coffee. Who wants coffee?
Yeah, I mean, you've still got power and you've got a replicator. You know, you're in it. You're not in like a tiny shuttle. You're in one of the runabouts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we should probably like minimize power as well.
I'll leave that up to you if you want to limit replicator usage. That is totally your call.
I hate being in command. Damn it. We'll do minimal power, but just so that we've got stuff in the reserve.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably, like, you've got enough of a reserve that if you guys can replicate, you could comfortably replicate like an evening meal and like some food tomorrow and stuff. You know, you're not about to completely drain the reactor or anything. I mean, these runabouts are meant to be sort of fairly self-sufficient for a while.
But I'm also thinking about if there is a civilization on this planet, we do not want to, according to the Prime Directive, we do not want to like make ourselves known. It's like, or they could be like other nefarious species, so we don't know. Don't want to draw
You're just trying to keep a low profile then.
Yeah.
Okay, so really only one dinner each.
For now.
Yeah. We'll see how we get on.
Yeah.
Some midnight snack going on. Yeah. Okay. Who's taking first watch then?
100%.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's already there. I mean, if there's been any amount of talk about what we've just discussed, then he's like, I'm on first watch.
All right.
Okay, all right. So can I get, I guess this will be insight security, just to kind of, as a general check, I'll call this difficulty 1, just to see if you see if anything really catches your eye as you're sitting there, sort of taking the first few hours of sort of chair time looking out the front window.
Okay. Well, I got a 2 and an 18.
All right. Well, that's one success. It's nothing really notable kind of happens. You do see a few smaller creatures sort of here and there, but like it's not like you've left on like floodlights outside or anything. It's only really what comes into the small sort of bit of light leaking out of the front windows.
Okay. This being an uncharted planet and what you've just said, just for fun, is there like a protocol are you aware of for like undiscovered species, so Jonny could quickly like log something in the ship's computer and scan some, like if he's seeing like maybe a couple of little creatures frolicking in front of him or something?
Oh yeah, you can make a note of them.
Quick scan on them and be like, I'm going to name these things after myself.
Connaught's reticulated squirrel.
Yeah, something like that.
Sure, yeah, why not?
Just to pass the time, is it? Because he's kind of like, he's not like he's over time. There's only so much sort of intense staring you can do before his curiosity starts to like get in there, and then he thinks in terms of like, I want to make a name for myself in Starfleet. Where could I start?
Sure, why not? Well, yeah, okay, yeah.
Cool. So that's just how he's going to spend his time.
Yeah. You know, I'm not going to have you roll to make detailed notes. Let's just say that you
become the David Attenborough, the intergalactic David Attenborough.
Actually, no. I mean, how detailed are your notes going to? How in depth are you getting it? Are you writing down like I saw a creature looked kind of like a?
I feel like there's a role required here in terms of like my science skill or something.
Yeah. Okay. I think this would be reason science, and I'm going to need difficulty 2 to have it be a decent scientific observation. If that makes sense. 18 and a 14. Well, no. I mean.
Okay, so Jonny writes out a fairly inept description of these animals, and it's not scientific enough by any extent. What is there is probably a little bit questionable about the observations.
Yeah, it looked kind of like a lemur.
Yeah,
and a stick figure as a drawing.
Yeah,
space squirrels.
Space squirrels.
Yeah.
So he still logs this and sort of like puts it in the ship's computer to be sent to Starfleet for a review after the mission.
Maybe this is something to put in a personal log as well. So sort of yeah. Fair play, yeah.
So yeah, that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I mean, you don't really notice anything. There's like no like big creatures coming out to look at least during your, the time that you're spending on that watch. You make a bit of a couple of notes, a couple of creatures. As I say, some not amazing sort of let's just say your descriptions probably wouldn't pass muster with the science department.
I can't imagine they would.
No. But yeah, you pass the time. Lieutenant Leera, are you taking the second watch, or are you going to take the last watch?
Yeah, I'll take the second watch.
Okay. Can I get a this was insight security, just as a sort of general kind of see if you see anything throughout? 11 and a 4. Okay, that is that's pretty good. So that's 2 successes, so you gain a momentum. You are sort of about an hour and a half into your watch, and you start to notice, at first you think it's kind of it might just be like a reflection from like the inside, light reflecting, it's a little bit light inside, but I'm assuming you've turned the lights down a little bit. But you think it might be like a reflection from inside, but it's a sort of light blue kind of sparkling, and it takes you a few seconds to realise this is coming from outside, and it's sort of behind one of the trees.
Can I do a detailed scan?
Yeah, you sure can. Can I get a reason science check from you? 9 out of 12. Actually, that is 1 success at least. Nothing is showing up on your scan, really. You get nothing beyond the sort of general background life, but there is definitely something out there. I mean, it's not. Okay, let me rephrase it. It's not showing nothing, but there's definitely no extra signs of like technology or any kind of weirds. There's no strange unseen particle readings or anything.
Is there like biomechanic like energy? Is it like biogenic?
There's definitely something alive out there. It's not narrowing it down to, and the sensors are picking up the light readings. It's showing up on the screen when you're pointing like the sensors at it. And it does appear to be a kind of sparkly sort of, almost like a kind of display of sort of patterns and lights and something. It's in the dark a little bit. It's not like right in front of the runabout. It's a little ways off. sort of through the woods.
I'm gonna nudge Sauce and be like,
yes, Lieutenant.
shh, keep quiet. Do you see what I'm seeing? Or have I hit my head and not realised?
Where am I meant to be looking?
And I'm gonna point in the direction of it. And then, like, show him the scan as well.
He sort of squints at it. He says, "Yeah, what is that? Well, there's something out there."
I tried to scan it, but nothing conclusive came up.
As you're watching the sort of display, it's definitely giving off light. It's not just reflecting. It sort of shimmers and then disappears.
Now it's nowhere to be seen.
It is dark out there, I will say as well. It's not like you haven't got like headlights on. Yeah.
No. Do we want to put the headlights on?
It's up to you. You can put the headlights on if you want.
Probably like a little light, but not much, just so that they can see like just a little bit around them.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that.
So as you're reaching towards the light control, the pattern sort of starts up again a little bit closer, and you bring the lights up and you see a much larger creature than the ones that Conought had seen. It's about 6 foot tall. The best way I can describe it is like sort of got like the physicality of a gorilla, but the face of like a seahorse. If that makes sense.
Okay.
And like the light is sort of on patterns, sort of going up above, around, sort of down its, up its face and sort of across its shoulders and that it looks like it's going down its back. As the lights come up, it quickly runs away. It sort of goes away. You can see it's got 4 arms and 2 legs.
That's not something that's kosher.
Lieutenant, you might have to explain what kosher means to me.
It's a human thing, don't worry.
Okay.
It's not normal.
I haven't seen anything like that.
Somehow, Seuss, I don't think anybody's probably seen this thing.
Yeah.
Let's get some more scans.
Do you think we can name it so Ensign Conought can't name it?
What, do you want to call it Murph Zeus?
That's I don't know, that's a bit...
Or a Zoomer?
It's a bit wordy.
A Zoomer?
I don't know. Okay, Zoomer. I don't know. I mean, I was joking mainly, but like...
So was I.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty big though, right? We don't want to run into
huge.
that too often.
I'm glad we locked the door.
Are you leaving the exterior lights on, or what's the plan?
I kind of want to now, seeing as it seemed to be afraid of the light.
At the very least, you sort of startled it by
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably she'll turn them off again, and send Zeus back to sleep.
Okay.
And keep an eye out.
Okay, so for the remaining couple hours of your watch, you don't see at the very least you don't see the pattern again. Whether there's something out there still is another matter. But comes the end of your shift, Ensign Sauce takes over. Little bit kind of bleary eyed and everything because you woke him up, and then
he's had the longest sleep out of all of us.
That's true. Yeah, but you know, he likes his beauty sleep. He's used to Starfleet. You know, the ship is run on a 4-shift rotation. Captain Jellicle style. Jellicle? No, Jellico. Jellicle is a cat thing.
Apparently.
You know, it's a 4-shift rotation, which many would argue is more efficient than a 3-shift rotation. So he's used to working 6 hours than having 18 hours off. So, yeah. I don't know. He's used to his downtime, and this is obviously a bit of a change in routine, shall we say. But I guess you're all kind of used to that pattern, really. But yes, he's a little bit bleary-eyed, and he's like, okay, I got this, don't worry. You get some sleep, Lieutenant. I'll let you know if the Zoomer thing, whatever it is, comes back.
Alright. I'm gonna bed down.
Okay. His watch seems to go without a problem. and morning comes.
Coffee. I'd like to make some coffee.
So yes, you fire up the replicator again, pour some coffee.
No, but that's just a case of let's get in this array fixed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So opening the door, both stepping out straight away. What are you doing? Are you having a look around? What's the?
Johnny's going to kind of take the lead, given an opportunity, provided that's fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, steps out with phaser in hand, kind of looking around.
I like to imagine he's sort of like he's fully gone like commando mode. He's like
over coffee. I assume he's been briefed of the thing that was seen.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, he's going out on alert, keeping an eye for that.
okay.
And, looks back after taking a look around. Does he see anything?
Can I get an insight security check from you? I'm only going to need one success from you on this one. Difficulty 1. It's a 20 and an 11. It's a lot of complication. If we were playing D&D, this would be some really great rolling. But we're not playing D&D. We're playing Star Trek Adventures.
I know, we'd be rolling in it.
Yeah. So you can't see anything really, moving around that much. You see one of the strange squirrel-like things that you saw the evening before kind of run off as soon as the door opens. I'm going to hang on to that complication.
Okay.
It might come back at some point. You do notice all around the runabout, and they weren't there when you were last outside, are a fair number of footprints. Quite large, four-toed.
It looks like there was more than one of those things out here, guys. And he kind of gestures and points towards the footprints.
Conought, scan the footprints, record them.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure we've still got all the data.
Hi. And he goes about doing that.
Yeah, I'll call that. I don't need a check for that. We'll just call that a difficulty line because you're essentially taking.
Is that a difficulty 0?
We'll call that. You're trying to. Okay, you get the one momentum back that we lost after last night.
Well, I still need to roll to see if I get the difficulty.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah, so yeah, it's a difficulty 0, but a 4 and an 11. So reason science, yeah, that's 2 successes. So yeah, you get 2 momentum off of that one. What I'm actually going to do with that complication is I'm going to bend the rules slightly. Actually, I don't even know if it's bending the rules. It might be something I can legit do. I'm going to turn that complication into a point of threat for myself that I can spend as the anti-momentum.
Okay.
So it's to make things harder for you, rather than hang a complication over your head the whole time.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Murphy is going to then try and track some of the footprints, see what direction they came from, or if they've left.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And how they've left this area. See if it's more than one or it's just one.
Right. Okay. I think I'm going to need. I mean, if you were looking for threats, it would be insight security. But I think as you're kind of, this is almost like a sort of zoology, biology sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you are kind of investigating. I guess maybe insight science.
Insight and security, maybe?
Yeah, it's kind of tracking his security.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go with that then.
Because if it's the investigation kind of thing, yeah.
Insight security. 10 and a 10. Okay, that's 2 successes. No matter what, because of your skill. So, yeah, you spend a little bit of time kind of just tracing around, and you would guess at most, and it takes a little bit of kind of back and forth, just sort of checking, you would guess there's maybe, at most, there's 2 creatures that were around, but it's very possible that it was just one that was sort of checking the ship out quite a bit. It's not like, it doesn't look like there's, been hundreds of footprints everywhere. It just, there's a set that's sort of going around a little bit. So it's very possible it was just the same one. Or it might be 2.
Possibly 2.
Yeah.
1, possibly 2. The tracks are a little muddled in places. Zeus, do you want to come out and give us a hand with this array?
Yeah, just a sec.
Expertise.
He comes out. You get the feeling he was gathering engineering tools anyway. He comes out with a toolkit and goes, right, let's get out of here. I mean, you know what I mean.
Let's go home.
Yeah.
Right. Do you need me to help you?
No, I'll just keep an eye out. I'll take a look at this. Okay, I'm gonna have Ensign Sauce do a reason engineering check. Okay, well, I got a 7 and a 3, so that's not bad. All right, so yeah, I mean, it does take him a little bit of time, and there's some choice Boolean swear words drifting down to you from the roof. He eventually he climbs back down. He says, "Okay, hopefully, I've at least got it to the point where we can send out some sort of beacon. I don't think we're going to be making any subspace calls, but it should be
Beacon is fine.
Broadcasting our location."
Good. I don't care if we can't speak face to face. A beacon is fine. It's a start.
Okay. While he was doing this, was there anything you two would like to have been doing, or are you just kind of... what's the...
Probably just keeping an eye out, and then maybe quizzing Conought on, like, stuff of the ship that he's about to join. Just throwing random pieces.
Well, actually, I kind of had it in mind that he's already been on the ship. This is just his first assignment. You know, it's his first... His assignment to the ship is his first assignment, if that makes sense.
Okay, then I'll probably, like, test him on how to spot, like, an undercover agent or something. Or, like how do you know that someone is being as hostile? How do you know a Betazoid is lying to you?
I don't really know, Murphy, to be honest. I mean, I'm just a human, so I've not really got any ability to deal with that kind of thing. How do you deal with that kind of thing?
Always look for their towel.
The towel?
Sauce shouts down, like in poker.
Have you ever played poker?
Yeah, I'm pretty terrible, to be honest. People can read me like a book.
We should play sometime.
I'll keep my chips, thank you very much. Yeah.
Poker and security go hand in hand, kid. You need to learn a bit about gambling to understand the way that some people think.
I'm more of a sports guy myself. I'm kind of like my battle arena. I know it's not really prohibited. It's a bit kind of edgy, but I kind of like to tune into some of the transmissions from some of those civilizations that are into the fighting and what have you.
So you're basically a blue-eyed golden boy.
I guess so. And he kind of tenses up again. Just looks at her like, the chain of command, what is happening? Much as Jonny grew up during space, he never really he wasn't into that culture so much. He was so focused on getting into Starfleet that he didn't really pay much attention to that at all. And in no way, shape or form has he got any sense of like, this is perhaps being humorous or poking fun at him. He's really just, I'm in Starfleet. I'm a good soldier.
He was he was near Bajor, but he was on the Federation side of the border sort of thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
He was sheltered for most of it.
Did a bit of a sheltered upbringing. Did he have like personal tutors and things if his parents were traders?
Well, I wasn't thinking that much. I was thinking more that it's kind of like his parents were traders, so there might have been a bit of traveling, and as such, he interacted with Bajorans, but he was on the ship with his parents a lot of the time, and as such, he was kind of self-teaching or learning from holograms, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
easy to stay in the Starfleet mindset.
So Jonny grew up with the Flotter hologram.
But yes,
anyway,
that was his upbringing. That was the, and then this is why he's failing quite spectacularly and dealing with the poker conversation.
Is his face going redder and redder as the more we speak?
He's not the type to go red. He's just very tense. You can kind of see like. I'm trying to think how tight these Starfleet uniforms are at this point. Whether you can see like his forearms bulging, like he's doing the Worf like crossed arm thing, like.
Well, no, I mean they're quite well tailored, you know. So.
Yeah, well, he's standing there, kind of looking real tense with his arms crossed and trying to look neutral at the same time because this is a superior officer talking to him.
Okay. So Sauce finishes up his repair. Are you all heading back inside, or what's the thinking?
Murphy will stay up top.
Okay.
He's just going to keep an eye.
He's going to keep an eye on. Okay.
I'm assuming it's still daylight, though. Yeah.
It is still daylight. Yeah. It's tough to gauge the time, really.
Yeah, she's staying outside to get the fresh air.
Okay. All right.
And noting this, Jonny calls up to her. Lieutenant, do you not want to be the one that puts out the distress call? Should the senior officer not be the one to do this?
Inwardly, she's going to be like, God damn it, Jonny.
Sauce kind of chimes in. He sort of pats you on the shoulder, and he goes, "It's just going to be It's not really going to be words. It's just going to be a beacon, kid.
It's going to be SOS."
Oh, right. Of course. Sorry, sir. And he hurriedly goes inside and kind of looks at Sauce and like narrows eyes, like, "Why would you do that, Sauce?
Do what? I'm not.
You stitched me up."
I mean, she knew it was only going to be.
Oh, whatever. Really important.
You're not going to get in trouble here, kid. Yeah, what do you think is going to happen?
I just want to. I don't know. She's so casual about all of this in terms of like chain of command and everything. Like, this isn't what Starfleet is supposed to be, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, this is a little out of the ordinary. You know, it's not every day we're going to crash on a deserted jungle world and a dashingly handsome Bolian has to save the day by fixing the transmitter.
Jonny, caught by that, kind of catches himself and the moment and like just blurts out like, "Oh, yeah, right, yeah," and remembers like maybe it's not as serious as all that. Like we've not been attacked, and yeah, while listening is tapping away, starting to do the communication.
Yeah, he's He sort of sat down. He's powering it up, and he says, "Now we play the waiting game. They ever tell you about the time that I met these 3 girls on Risa? They liked me. They really liked me." You ever been to Risa, Jonny?
Murphy's gonna walk in and just be like, "That's because you bought a Korg. That's why they liked you."
It's called a Horgon, and I was gifted it.
Yes, it's exactly why it's called that, because it's only for whores. And then walks away.
Pretty judgmental, Lieutenant.
Anyone who goes to Risa is a whore.
Well, that's really judgmental.
Jonny is bristling again, just kind of looking between them, like, thinking about like horse. What, Risa?
What I do on my leave is, that's my business.
Hey, I didn't say it was a bad business. I just said it is exactly what it is.
Look, not everybody who goes to Risa goes there to, get that swerve on.
No,
There's lovely beaches.
But that's what it's mainly.
Well, suit yourself. So anyway, kid, I was on Risa. You ever been to Risa, Jonny?
No, Sauce. I've not been to Risa yet.
Just you wait. Great time.
On your next shore leave, take a week. You'll enjoy yourself, lad.
I guess. And he's just intently looking down at the keypad, tapping away.
What are you tapping away on? I mean,
he's like, whatever the messages that they've sent out, he's already just monitoring it.
It just turned on like a beeping transmitter.
Pretty much, yeah, but he's monitoring it pointlessly in a way of sort of like he's keeping his mind on that, like,
he's adding details to his...
keeping the fucking moment.
He's adding details to his scientific notes of the squirrel. Because he saw them in the light today, so he's adding more details about their coloration.
He's desperately clinging to any kind of duty right now.
Murphy's not that bad. She's just been around the universe a little while.
Yeah, you served during the war. You've been in Starfleet 6 years. The war only ended a year ago. You've seen some
terrified.
He's trying to pull himself together.
As you're you're trying to focus on your sort of notes and stuff, you're suddenly aware of a sort of slight kind of low thumping.
Okay, so he looks up through the viewport. Is there anything immediately visible?
So, yeah, as you look up, you can see sort of lumbering out of the woods what looks to be, I mean, and Lieutenant Leera, are you looking up as well, or are you...
Yeah.
Yeah. You see what looks to be, could be the creature from last night. Sort of lumbering sort of out of the woods with a bit of an odd... I mean, it's got an odd face anyway, but it's got... You would swear it had like almost like a look of distress on its face, and it comes right up to the runabout and goes almost... You can see it looks like it's making to climb up onto it.
So we've got a problem. One of those things is up on the roof.
He's making his way up towards the... I'm assuming it's the communications array up there. He's making his way to the communications array.
Damn it, I just spent an hour and a half fixing that thing.
Murphy's going to go out.
Yeah, panicked. Johnny's up on his feet and with her.
You're going outside?
Yeah.
Phaser in hand.
Phaser in hand, but taking it slow.
Okay. So, as you step outside, the thing kind of turns and looks at you and makes a sort of low kind of sort of rumbling sort of... It doesn't sound like... It's not like growling at you, but it's kind of like a low kind of guttural sort of vocalization that looks at you.
Murphy's just going to have her hand palm up, just as in like a... It's okay. Can you please get off the ship? It's already been fixed. We've just fixed it.
Johnny's kind of behind her, mimicking, kind of following her lead at this point.
Yeah. It sort of looks
just
at you. It looks at you, and then it looks back at the communications thing, and like this sort of rippling array of like light sort of patterns flash across its sort of... I don't know. It is hairy, but it's got kind of like a sort of skin, sort of not scales, but kind of scales actually. Yeah, the sort of light and scales, but the pattern looks like it's in disarray compared to how you saw it the previous night.
Noting this and having seen its expression as it was climbing up, Johnny's gonna kind of try and look towards where it's come from.
Sure. I mean, are you looking? What are you looking for? Or are you
looking to see if there's any sign of? Because it looks like maybe it's been in the wars a little bit. Is there anything that it's moving away from? Is there another one of them? Is there anything there that is visibly trying to get away from?
You can't see anything there. No.
Okay.
Is it doing anything as I like gesture to it to get down, or?
It's just kind of looking at you a little bit. It doesn't know what to make of you, but it definitely does look like it's sort of under sort of stress.
I'm going to extend my hand towards it.
Okay.
I'd just be like, and have my phaser like facing upwards, like in like with my hand up. So I'm not pointing the phaser at it, but I know my colleague is. So I'm like, just come down. It's all right.
Again, it kind of like this sort of vocalization really does sound like a little bit like it's in distress, and it goes to move towards the, like as if to slap at the communications array. It's like it's raising its hand to.
I'm gonna call out to Zeus and tell him to switch it off for a few minutes.
Are you sure?
I just want to test a theory.
Okay. And I mean, you can't see
yet?
from inside. You know, the communications array doesn't look any different to you. But you watch for a second, and it does appear that it does look a little relieved. I mean, it's you don't know anything about this animal really, but like it does.
Does it move off, or?
It's still just sort of sitting there now. It's just kind of looking at you, and it sort of shakes its head a bit, and then the light pattern kind of goes again, and it does look a little bit more like it did the previous night now.
I extend my hand again.
Okay. So you're taking a step forward, just sort of reaching for it, and your communication badge, Pips. The sudden sound, the creature sort of oof, and just leaps away and off into the forest.
Shuttlecraft Mallory, this is the Tenzing Norgay. Please respond.
Murphy here.
Lieutenant Murphy, good to hear from you. The ship is currently in orbit. What is your status?
All 3 fine. Shuttlecraft down. Nacelle damaged completely beyond repair. We've got a hairline fracture going between the nacelle right through. We're in pretty bad shape, sir, but all in good spirits.
Glad to hear it. Prepare your crew for beam out. We'll send an engineering team down to recover the shuttle.
Advise there are creatures on the surface, sir, that seem to have effects from our communications array. Just heads up.
Noted. We'll take that into account. Thank you, Murphy.
Sir?
A few seconds pass, and the 3 of you are beamed up to the ship. And that's where we'll call this to an end, I think.
Ooh.
Good stuff.
Yeah, little mini adventure there.
It was good.
Yeah, we'll maybe come back to these characters at some point, I think.
I wanted first contact. And
Yeah.
it was denied.
Well, you kind of did.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
True.
Okay, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm hoping that we'll have a new bonus episode for you all next week on Thursday, the 23rd of April. Keep an eye on our social media feeds for news of that. But we will definitely be back for you in 2 weeks' time on Thursday, the 30th of April, with another one-shot game. I think the plan at the moment is to do a D&D one-shot, but as with everything right now, plans are kind of up in the air. So watch this space. In the meantime, you can get in contact with us on Twitter and Facebook, both of which we are at PretendWithDice. If you're a Discord user, you can join our server by following the link in the pinned tweet on our Twitter page. And finally, you can also email us at pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. If you're an iTunes or Apple Podcast user, it'd be really great if you could leave us a rating and review. It all helps us to find new listeners, and we'd love to hear what you all think of the podcast. So for now, that's our show. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.